Hi, welcome back to the Sportsheads. It's season 2. What a off-season we have had. And today I'm luckily joined by Andre Dixon of Verge magazine, our very own favourite, Mike Carlson, and we've got a lovely new co-host, Tori Ree.
Wow, you just called me lovely.
Well, he couldn't call
And
himself.
that was on camera. I'm keeping that. That's going on my highlight reel. So I'm going to kick off as we mean to go on with me talking. Joking. So, as Sam mentioned, there's been a lot going on. Obviously, we had the drafts last week. So we're going to start off by talking about who you thought was the winners from this draft. I think the Jets have obviously done really well with Sam Darnold, but there's also been a few controversial picks as well.
Well, the funny part is that every team that, say, took a quarterback in this draft thinks they've done well, and they won't know, for a couple of years until they get the quarterbacks. And when you're doing an instant evaluation of the draft, you kind of have to get caught up between those top picks. And realistically, if the top picks come through, then a team has had a good draft. But then you look at the depth of the draft and you think, well, this team had a really good draft, but it might not show for 2 or 3 years. And I like, of the quarterback drafts, the one I liked the best, actually, well, the two were Josh Rosen. Arizona picking up Rosen at 10. They traded up to do that. And then the Ravens trading back into the first round to get Lamar Jackson with the last pick of the first round. And I think I liked Rosen probably all around the best of the quarterbacks in the draft. So I think that was pretty good value for Arizona. But Jackson is such a potentially intriguing and star player that for Baltimore to pick him up there was a great move, especially when you consider they signed RG3 in the offseason to back up Joe Flacco. If Flacco goes, and he's the guy who makes the big money, they've got RG3 and Jackson who are similar in a lot of ways.
Jackson's another Heisman Trophy winner, right? So
Exactly.
It was Heisman Trophy winner, first pick and last pick,
Yeah,
which was
and
amazing.
that's never happened before.
Yeah. So that could be quite good. I mean, for you,
I'm gonna try to contain my excitement of being a homer with a New York Giants fan, but I'm very happy that they are finally concentrated on the offensive line and the run game. So obviously getting Saquon Barkley and then Will Hernandez is amazing. I think this will be the first time that the Giants, since they've won the last Super Bowl, will have a 1-2 punch.
Back when the Giants won twice back when Andre was alive.
Just for the record, I'm trying to bet on my posture, and these guys keep on joking.
Yeah, and it's a great point.
he doesn't believe what he's saying about them winning the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
That's what
he makes a great point, though. If Barkley, the criticism of drafting Barkley was solely that it was too high for a running back, any running back. If Barkley turns out to be a great running back in the Adrian Peterson, Ricky Williams kind of category, and the Giants win, they had a great draft. Yeah. If he doesn't, if he's just a run-of-the-mill quarterback, well, as running back, they've paid a lot of money for him, but they've still had a very good draft going down. Buffalo's in that same situation with Josh Allen, the quarterback. If Allen turns out to be a good quarterback, they had a great draft. If he's only a mediocre quarterback, they still had a good draft.
Yeah, I mean, you say that. It is a gamble at the end of the day. And obviously one of the gambles that we obviously saw was the first pick, Baker Mayfield. I think when his name was announced, everyone was like, you heard the jeers in it a little bit. And like,
a massive shock.
Because it was a shock.
Controversial.
Yeah, but I think that's not just his ability. Obviously, there's a few things that have gone on off the pitch that obviously make it a little bit controversial. But if you look at the Browns, and dare I say it, they might actually win a game this year because of what they've done, not only in the draft, but the off-season. When you start putting people like Tyrod Taylor to put next to Baker Mayfield in there. Landry's come in at wide receiver. They've got Josh Gordon. Actually giving Baker Mayfield a good chance to actually have a few weapons there. They brought in Nick Chubb as well, I think, in the second round, I believe. So they've got the running back potential with Carlos Hyde coming in, another season sort of vet, would you say, from the 49ers. That, for me, I actually think the Browns actually done some good business. I'll concentrate in the draft. I actually think they've done all right just to compensate what they've already got. I would say the best business because they can only improve on what they did last year.
There's only one way.
Yeah, if you look at the picks to improve your team and who's done the best, it has to be the Browns because you might actually win a game this year. But that's for me.
So
that's
would you say
important.
that he's going to be the starting quarterback?
I think so. I think obviously the pre-season will tell. I think Tyrod Taylor's obviously, we know he's a starting QB. But Baker Mayfield, with that hunger that he's got, I actually think he might come out and actually.
Interesting thing was that all of the teams that needed a quarterback brought somebody in. There was really quarterback roulette going on in the off season. And so the 5 teams that had the really intense need, they all have someone who can start if the rookie's not ready, and I don't think the rookies will be ready.
Yeah.
And Denver was the only team that didn't. They picked up Case Keenum. They didn't draft a quarterback to fill in. But going back to Cleveland, when they brought in Carlos Hyde, I said to myself, Barkley's not going to Cleveland. But they picked up Chubb, which is not a bad move. And then they picked up Antonio Callaway. Yeah. So if Josh Gordon is a reformed character, Callaway can take his place, kind of as the bad boy of the wide receiver. Because he had all kinds, he's a great talent, but had all kinds of trouble in college.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting you mentioned about Rosen as well. I mean, me being a Cardinals fan, I like that we got him. The only bit on my shoulder there that's a little bit is his attitude to obviously being picked at 10. Is that going to have an effect on him going in for the positive?
I loved what he said. I mean, 9 teams are going to regret passing on me. I think that's fantastic. And he was the guy whose coach, Jim Mora, at one point said, well, if I were drafting, number 1, I would take Sam Darnold, which wasn't the greatest. And he said he's a millennial. You have to keep his attention. You have to make him more, which I thought was a good thing. You want a quarterback who's smart and who demands that you that you coach him. And they made him sound like he was Owen Wilson. So we're going to make the Josh Rosen story starring Owen Wilson.
Starting that story already for him.
But they drafted Christian Kirk second, who I think is a really good receiver and is going to fit with him and that team really well. Yeah,
I mean, again, it's quite nice these youngsters coming in and then saying like, who can they work with, and no better as a wide receiver to have Larry Fitzgerald there. It's great to have him for that one more season. Let's see if Sam Bradford's knees last longer than a game.
They won't.
Obviously, they won't. But $20 million, you hope so. I mean, it's been a great draft. Obviously we.
And funnily enough, Baker Mayfield is kind of a Sam Bradford. If you go back and look, except he's not injured all the time. But there's a lot of connections you can make kind of along the way.
I think with Baker Mayfield, though, I just felt that if you look at all the bits they had around him, like he had a film set ready to already have like a documentary on him already. It was like he believes in himself that much. That is a good thing. I think if you're as a sports person, first thing, believe in yourself. Because if others don't, and you don't, you're never going to cut it. You can't always take all the attention. Yeah.
But do you not feel that the cockiness that he's coming in with is very similar to Johnny Manziel?
Do you think it's cockiness or confidence, though?
For me personally, I mean, this is a new era now. So obviously everyone's coming in with their own media platform already. I feel that you coming in as a rookie, it kind of sets, for me personally, a bad start if you're coming in with a film crew, in the locker room. I don't know if you would agree.
I do in a perfect world, but that's the way things are.
That's the way
nowadays.
things are. So I think that people who in the locker room would actually look at it and puts more pressure on you as well to perform to your peers and then also to the public too.
Yeah. But he was caught. This is a kid who walked on at Texas Tech, won the starting job as a freshman, got hurt. Davis Webb came in and took, also a freshman, took the job. His coach wouldn't guarantee him starting, so he left, and he walked on at Oklahoma and became the starter. And then Davis Webb, of course, had to go because Mahomes showed up in Texas Tech, and the coach said, no, he's the starter. So Davis Webb went out to California and then to the Giants. So, I think that cockiness is built into a guy who's always been told he's not going to succeed. Small, undersized quarterback. So best of luck.
Well, let's see how that all pans out. I'm hoping that some of you guys agree with what we've had to say. If you don't, feel free to send a tweet in and argue with us as much as you like.
In particular with Andre.
UK. Mainly Andre. Mainly Andre.
Sam's handle is UK Samo.
I'll take the followers.
Gonna move forward to favourite moment of the draft. There's been a few heartwarming moments. For me in particular, it was when Shaquem Griffin got the call from the Seahawks to say that he was going to be joining his twin. The first one-handed player in modern history anyway. So I think that was quite an emotional moment. Don't know whether being a female it touched me even more, but it was a beautiful thing to watch. What about you guys?
Yeah, that was great, and he's going to be good. He's a good fit in Seattle. Emotionally, watching Ryan Shazier walk out onto to make a presentation was great, because it's great to see him back normal functioning and all that kind of stuff. But I loved when Roger Goodell came out, and with 3 Dallas Cowboys, including Roger Staubach, who threw a ball into the crowd about 40 yards, and he's 76 years old. But the crowd started booing like crazy, and Goodell kind of went, "How can you boo these guys?" And they're not booing those guys, they're booing him. He sounded just like Donald Trump. It was exactly like Donald Trump.
It was almost like, please stop booing me. What more can I come in on the stage with?
And there was great trolling going on. So Jerry Kramer, the Hall of Fame guard from the Green Bay Packers in the 60s, came out and started trolling the Dallas crowd. And he mentioned the Ice Bowl, and there was this silence, because nobody there was old enough to remember what the Ice Bowl was.
When was the Ice Bowl?
Was that the Ice Age?
Yeah, maybe.
For people who like drama like me, David Akers, there's nothing better than, obviously, I'm quite biased as a Giants fan, to troll the Dallas Cowboys fans.
Are you a Giants fan?
I thought you were a Rams fan.
Never noticed. Yeah, and the best thing with Akers, who played in Europe, he played for Berlin. He's a great guy, real funny guy, but he's busy trolling them. And then the Eagles traded up to move ahead of Dallas, and the guy they took was Dallas Goddard. And it was like, it's so perfect. And of course, with Jason Witten kind of announcing that he was going, not to play, he's going into TV.
Yeah.
Dallas needs a tight end, and Goddard was the best tight end available at that point.
It was very much like WWE-esque, the way he had the speech.
And that's the way it's going, isn't it? That whole thing, they might as well play entrance music for these guys.
That will come. I think I might even go to the bookies and put something
I think we should.
down.
Well, I think we should petition that.
Right.
Well, Ryan Shazier definitely walking on, definitely touching moment. I think there was a few sort of away from the camera a little bit, sort of Steve Smith talking about obviously being replaced himself as well, which I thought was quite good, sort of saying to the Panthers, you have not replaced me until now.
Right.
Love that. The confidence, and not one person doubted him.
Yeah.
It was just like, you know what, you might be right actually, and that's where
DJ Moore's got something to live up to now.
Yeah, now but I guess it's putting pressure on him. We were talking about sort of Baker Mayfield and obviously the pressure, but now you've got someone like that, again, seasoned pro who has delivered, saying you're the person that's going to replace me. Great, that's the confidence you need to be looking for from outside, the peers outside, sort of giving you that. And
that's
now
someone cheering. Sorry to cut you, but I think there's a difference between, I think, someone cheering you on and saying, okay, I can see the potential in you, to you coming in with a whole film crew and saying pretty much like, I'm it.
It's self-proclaimed, isn't it?
Yeah.
You're self-proclaimed that you're that good.
Yeah.
No one else is actually
people
talking.
going to be like, okay, I'm going to root for
Surely
you
it
to fail.
depends on whether you have brought the film crew or whether the film crew have approached you and come.
Yeah, but you can still turn. You can still turn that down.
But why? Why would you turn that down if you think, okay, people are believing in me?
Because you're putting that pressure on. I mean, any sports person would rather, well, I'd say most sports people would write, let me do it all on the field, then take the plaudits. If you look,
you're taking a risk too. You got to put it this way: if Mayfield fails, it's going to be a great TV show, but not very good for
But then
for
he'll
him.
still get paid either way.
Yeah, well, he's going to get paid.
It's a plan B.
But if you look at someone like Tom Brady, who's waited a long time to the point where no one can question him putting out a documentary, there's a difference in him and someone who's just come in who hasn't.
But they've obviously got those shows, which is fine. But if you look at those, they come out at the end of the season, so you're not putting that pressure on anyone immediately. He's immediately
It depends on his format of how it's going to be, put out. I just think that what you're doing is you're putting a target on your back, and people are really going to want to light you up.
Again, there's two problems for me with this. Is you've put your pressure on yourself there. You're at the Browns. Is there not enough pressure as it is to carry that team forward?
All you have to do is win one game and you're a success.
I remember you may not even start. You might be on the sidelines the whole season if Tyrod Taylor does what he's supposed to do.
Yeah. Okay. Well, definitely some great moments there.
Pending.
Yeah, some great moments though. Obviously, there again, like we got to see. Obviously, people like Ryan Shazier obviously walking out, and David Akers, amazing. Yes, I do like a bit of controversy, and that was good, and that did get the draft sort of going and get everyone pumped again. I think, again, it was another draft that actually saw it wasn't just I've seen my pick and I'll go to sleep. You know, it was actually, let's see what's going to happen next. You know, it was great for viewers that weren't actually at the venue, which is good. But yeah, let's see what actually happens on from there.
Obviously, we can talk forever about the draft. There's been quite a few talking points, but there's also been a lot going on in the off-season. It wasn't too long ago that everyone's phone was buzzing off with notifications. Who do you think has done the best business?
Well, I think it's quite obvious what I'm going to say. It's the Giants. But,
Hardly needed to ask.
Yeah, you didn't need to. I should have worn my jersey.
Is that the business that you paid the most attention to, or the best?
No, I would say if you look at their offense is ridiculous as it is. You know, if you give in time for Eli to be able to throw the ball with Nate Soldier coming in, then obviously there's going to be a ridiculous difference to the actual offense. Plus, obviously, you've got a run game with Saquon Barkley, who's a hybrid. So to me, I feel that and if we get Des Bryant, please.
Yeah, well, the big thing the Giants did was hang on to Odell Beckham too.
That was a massive thing.
Now you need, if you have one spotlight, you've got Des and Odell together, you got a real problem.
And he also seems like he's committed to the team. You know, I think that he's changing his habits. I think that the off-season that he had, I really don't think he would want that again. I think it takes away from his talent, all of the off-the-field stuff. So I feel that, personally, if they get another wide out, I think that they are, to me, and I know Sam's going to...
Sorry, right in the bit right now.
Keep going.
They are contenders, as far as I'm concerned, because the defense is extremely strong and the offense has just got stronger.
We got that on camera, because this will be the second time you said that they were contenders and they were going to come nowhere again.
This is every year.
You get, honestly, if you get Des Bryant, I feel for Barkley, because those two will take him out on the town. It'll be ruin him. Poor guy. It was slander.
So true. So who had the best?
For me, the Rams, your second team, because little does everyone know.
He's a fraud.
He's a fraud, because when the Giants flopped, he was ordering Ram shirts, helmets, pads.
I was given the apparel and
by the courier
and the team
by DPD.
Not only are you a front runner, you're a cheapskate.
Yeah. Shocking behaviour. But no,
easy bribes.
Easy. But
the
Rams obviously, we didn't obviously come across them when we were just talking about the draft, because they did such great business in the off season. Sue coming in, Marcus Peters coming in. For me, I mean, even those two alone would be like, okay, you know, because they just missed out for me last year. So really, what they've done now.
And Aqib Talib.
Yeah, Talib coming in. Yeah, you know, and these all.
So you think they'll win now?
No, I didn't say they're winning.
No, you think they're in win now?
Oh yeah. It's all about now. Yeah, it's all about now. Because
Yeah.
I say they were that close. I think in any sport, when you come that close, you look at where did we fail, and you look at where they did fail. I think they've plugged in those little gaps, and they won't sink this year.
And what you look at Wade Phillips, you know, like with even in his last stop at Denver, you know, now he's got two great corners on the side. That makes the pass rush that much more effective.
Yeah.
I liked what Philadelphia did in a quiet way. Michael Bennett, Haloti Ngata, you know, just to keep a strong rotation up front with their, because that's the core of their defense is based on their. But if the Rams were like building, you know, for tomorrow, and spending lots of money, the Patriots are like the bargain basement Rams, and they actually brought in via trading their draft picks before the draft, you know, a number of guys who will help, especially Danny Shelton in the middle from Cleveland, who's certainly worth the third-round pick that they wanted to give. Jason McCourty to play corner to kind of replace Malcolm Butler, who went to Tennessee, and Tennessee did some pretty good business as well with that. And then, you know, they lose receivers, they sign Jordan Matthews. You know, it's like they don't get excited about losing good guys. Solder's the guy who's going to be hardest to replace, and they looked in the draft for that. But they just figure, okay, we lost them, we'll pick up somebody else who can
It's difficult because on paper you would look at it and you think, okay, who's there to throw to and what they're going to do now. but they always manage to find a way. They literally find anyone else's trash and make it.
Plus, Danny Amendola left, but they didn't have Edelman last year.
Yeah.
He's back.
Yeah.
Hogan missed most of the season.
Yeah.
He's back. Hightower missed most of the season. When you think that they got to the Super Bowl and in a position to win the game, and then they're getting 5 or 6 injured players back, including their top 2 draft choices from last year. They'll be in the contention.
And Gronk and Brady have confirmed they're back, obviously for another year. So you can never write them off.
No.
Let's honest, but let's not make the same show that we have every year about the Patriots.
Well, that's why I'm wearing my Bill shirt.
Let's not do that. But I mean, definitely a very busy offseason, and like Tori mentioned there, the phone was just constantly going off, and people ringing you, go, "Have you seen this?" It's like, "No, I'm still on the last story that happened 30 seconds ago."
And we mentioned about the NFL kind of becoming reality TV, but this was something they set out to do, because it's the shortest season in North American sport. We want to be a 365, 24/7 season.
Yeah.
They pushed the draft back a month to give you another month to talk about who's going to be able to. But it's worked.
Yeah.
I mean, and the NFL is in the news for almost all of the year now.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it will continue to be. I think, like you say, there's a lot of moves going off, not just in the off-season with the actual teams, but actually the organisations itself as the National Football League are definitely making some moves. And we'll come on to a few points that we're seeing at some point as well in this country as well.
I think that brings us on to quite a smooth transition to definitely one of the biggest news topics over the last week. Shahid Khan looking to buy Wembley for the Jags, making it their home. Do we think this is actually like a possibility, or is this just
I think
a nice
it's definitely
idea?
a possibility, because the Football Association does what the Football Association wants to do all the time, which is make money. And I don't think it's a bad move for the Football Association. They still keep all the revenue from the England games, but he'll kind of be more motivated and probably better at getting other stuff into Wembley. And from the Jags' point of view, I'd be a little nervous about that move to London permanently. But
It's quite a contrast as well, though, isn't it?
Yeah, because I mean, each time that we all think, no, it's not possible, then there's another move that happens that makes it, and you think, okay, well, this is looking more and more likely. I mean, as we discussed off air, that it's only 8 games. So therefore, it's not that big a deal. I think they're on, like, at the moment, like two a year at the moment for the last few years. So I think there's a big fan base over here for NFL. There's a big thirst. The tickets are sold out really quickly all the time. So I think it could work.
I mean, this is the thing. We look at it. It's still sort of, for us in the UK, people still go to the games even if they don't support the Jags.
Exactly.
So the stadium will be full. We knew there's something was going to be happening anyway, because the NFL helped fund that other North London side stadium. I'm an Arsenal fan. We'll never.
I knew you couldn't do it.
So the two, we'll have the 2 stadiums capable to host these games, which will be great. And obviously, the NFL are going to push that as much as they can. You've got Shahid obviously owns Fulham Football Club. They cannot really build a new stadium for what they've got. Is that another move for him to move them there?
That would be a tough.
I was going to say that'd be a big move.
So that's another thing. It's another sport we can look at. But this guy is clever. He knows what he's doing. He hasn't got to where he has just by making sort of rash decisions. He knows what he's doing with this. It works for the FA, like you say. But for a long time, the old Wembley wasn't owned by the FA anyway. So again, people can't really jump up and down about that. So I think actually there are no losers really in this.
Or people saying that they're selling the crown jewels.
Yeah, well, they've sold everything else.
So,
how many teams in the Premier League are owned by foreign entities?
And not only that, if you look at actually other actual football, I would say soccer teams for the purpose of this, but if you actually look at it, not many national soccer teams actually have a national stadium. They all go and play across the country. So actually this will open up for English fans to maybe see games up north and in other places as well.
Which is good
for everyone. And as I say, I don't think anyone loses out. The only point that we obviously touch on is obviously people sort of travelling. We saw what the Seahawks kicked off, a little bit of a stink, obviously having to come over. But if you sort of make it a little bit local, the flight time actually from east to west coast is no different from east to.
And what they've done in the past is if you're a West Coast team and you're coming to London, you play a road game on the East Coast the week before, and then your flight time is shorter coming over. The logistics are, the logistics of having a team in London are hugely difficult. But the NFL has the money and the political clout, say, to overcome most of those tax things, customs things, immigration work permit things. The problems with having one team here in terms of players is more difficult because if you're young and you've got a young family, do you want to come over here and live? Would you live here for 6 months?
Yeah. Amazing weather.
That's
amazing weather.
No, I mean, that's one of the things I was thinking for free agents. Is that may be a problem because obviously Jacksonville is amazing weather, beaches, so forth. But,
I mean, they may well base themselves in the States and come over for 2-week periods when they're going to play 2 home games. Say.
Okay.
And then, I wouldn't be surprised if something like that happened.
Yeah. The other forward thinking there is because of the I will say it, White Hart Lane and Wembley, you could potentially have, if they're going to expand, there is room for 2 teams. Yeah. And eventually, if you look at sort of not just the UK, but Germany, for instance, if they've have the capabilities, eventually
the market was there in Germany. I don't know. It'd be interesting to see if it still is. I think
there's a new division there for me. Yeah. That's where you open up and actually have a division of sort of 4 teams based in Europe.
And that was the original idea with the World League. They started with a 3-team European division, but the idea was to build into a European, an East Coast, a West Coast, and an Asian. They were going to have a 4. It didn't get that far. But the other problem, of course, is what you were alluding to, which is the fans who come to the games now support all 32 teams. And you come because, well, that's a good game. I'll go see that because my team's not coming over this year. And when there's 4 games, there's 8 teams coming over in some years. That's great. I love it because you get to see a variety. If it's one team, if it's the London Monarchs or the London Broyles or the London Fogs or whatever they're going to call them, will enough people transfer their allegiance, or be, like craven guys like Andre.
They reach the playoffs, then
give me a free jersey and you'll be my team forever.
Jags, Harold here, thank you.
But 8 games, season tickets. You need to have that crowd for one team. And if they start off the year badly, will they keep it? So to me, that's the biggest risk.
I think the main thing is the attendance. I think people would actually, no matter what team you support, because you're going to be able to see stars
one
every
other
week.
Team,
So that I mean, they're effectively by default become everyone's second team.
They sell out now because not most, but the large proportion of those fans buy tickets for 1 game a year. They don't buy the 4-game package or 3-game package or whatever it is. And if you ask those fans to buy an 8-game package, which means you're going to see a specific team 8 times a year, that may be the harder to sell.
The other thing is you look at it and actually go how many season tickets they actually do sell. I think this is where it actually probably works with the White Hart Lane, where it's a smaller capacity, because that's why they had to change the way people bought season tickets this year. You couldn't actually buy the 3 games; you had to buy 2 and then apply for the second. I think if you look at what will happen in the future if they did have a team here, is we do have a lot of Americans that do live in this country. We do have a lot of tourism that come in, and actually on that day people will buy tickets, and people in Europe will still travel. I think there's a big fan base in Europe, and it'll be certainly cheaper to jump on the Eurostar to Wembley than it is actually get a flight to there. I don't think they'll have an issue filling it up as much as people think. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it will be 80,000 every year or every game, 80, 90,000, but even if they have 40 to 50,000, it is still more than what we're seeing at the Chargers, where we're seeing 12 to 20,000 people when they've done their move into a new state in America.
I think there's more upsides than anything.
So it's going to be promoting it to the younger generation as well, especially in the UK. It's getting out what is American football. I think it's probably more the mid-generation, older generation who are maybe a bit more aware of it, but in schools and stuff, it's definitely not promoted.
They've done a great job of promotion.
I mean, there's more. It's more likely for people to be able to get a team, support the team, from a young age.
Experience it properly.
There's something over here, or every year. So I think, I think, which I can't believe. I think a couple of years ago I would have just written this whole thing off, but it's looking like it definitely could happen.
Okay, I mean, we can all agree then there's a bright future ahead then for the NFL. So, yeah, let's see
Maybe
where
there
it
might
takes us.
be more excitement in London.
Maybe.
Anyway, so schedules are now out as well. Who are you looking forward to most in week 1? I'm going with Eagles-Falcons.
That's a good one.
Battle of the Birds.
It's the first. It's the first game of the year, right?
Yeah,
It's
Battle
a
of the
good
Birds.
kick-off, yeah.
There
It's
we
not
go.
bad. It's not a bad little game.
So, what about you guys?
I'm going to go against what I normally would do is obviously go for the Giants games.
No.
He's going for the
what?
Rams instead.
Rams
But I
game.
will go with the Patriots Texans game because I
Sit
think
on the you sit on that fence.
last time that was a shootout between Brady and Watson, and pretty much that was a game that Watson announced himself to the league. So for me and for fantasy football reasons, which Sam can't speak about,
What about I don't play fantasy.
he definitely doesn't because he came last.
I didn't come last. Second from last.
But yeah, I think that what you'll have there is a more experienced, effectively rookie, and then he's got more pieces now to be able to throw to, and I think that it'll be really interesting to see just what the Patriots are doing.
Vikings 49ers will be an interesting one because A, we'll see how the Vikings are with Kirk Cousins at quarterback, and B, we'll see if the 49ers can actually lose a game with Jimmy Garoppolo, who's never lost a game in the NFL.
Oh, there we go. There's some pressure.
2 highest paid quarterbacks in the league.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
But the highest paid quarterback in the league is the last one who signed a contract.
Yeah. Of course. Yeah. No, but but then again, still pressures. People will be looking at that game. I think a game that I obviously want to look at is the Browns versus the Steelers. We've touched on what's going to happen with the Browns. So we're either going to see the massive balloon inflated and that needle come flying in from Big Ben and normal service resumes, or there's that excitement that's going to kick on with the Browns. And actually, even if they come close and get in that game, people will start to take them seriously. So I just want to keep an eye on it because everyone can analyse everything leading up to that game, but let's see what they actually prove on the field.
But I mean, also you can actually, now we bring up the Giants again, I think.
No, he's found a way.
Did you just hear as well? We bring up the Giants again.
Let's bring up like Giants TV.
Do they have Giants TV?
Yes, they do.
It
It's
lasts
like
for
there's two different podcasts going on.
Yeah.
It's like we'll talk about the NFL and Andre will talk
I'll
about the
talk about
Giants.
the Giants.
Giants
Because
so
obviously
hard.
they're playing the Jags. I think
Loss.
then you'll be able to see.
That's a big
Yeah,
L.
I know you're
Big
wishing that
fat
would
L.
happen, but then you'll be able to see just exactly how this new offense is going to work for the Giants against a stout, if not the best defense in the NFL.
Fournette's going to teach Barkley a lesson. This is how you're supposed to do it.
Jokes aside, I think that will be quite interesting to be able to see.
You're going to have a dilemma though, because you do realise a moment ago you did just ask for a Jags jersey. So which jersey are you going to wear? Because obviously
He's that guy that's got all the patches. he cuts it all together.
That's why I need Supreme to send me that whole.
His poor wife Eva's going to have to get the old sewing kit out and actually sew it all together for him.
You can do a Tug McGraw thing.
like
Just do it in the middle, like half a Jags jersey and half a Giants jersey.
But I think that for neutrals, it's definitely offense versus defense.
That'd be a solid game. We still haven't worked out who you're rooting for, mate. This year.
Well, it won't be the Jags that game.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, Jags.
There you go. Oh, look, stellar apology there.
You sent me the stuff.
Two quarterbacks who can't throw the ball accurately. Two running backs, Fournette and Barkley. It's a great match.
That will definitely be a run-heavy game, I think.
I mean, it shows how much you back the Giants when you didn't have a single player in your fantasy team from the Giants. Sorry.
We can cut this out.
The Giants are his fantasy team.
Exactly. Now, this is different now. And you wouldn't trade me Odell and you see what happened? Anyway, moving on.
So I'm going to cut in there before the whole show turns to talk about the Giants, Andre. And we're going to take a quick break. In the meanwhile, I'm just going to introduce you to Kenny Bello and Phoebe Schechter, first female NFL coach. Go on, Phoebe, who together created the UK Dukes, who have now joined the Sportsheads.
1 second.